Now, the Lafayette City Police Department is in charge of the investigation in this case. They say they continue to follow leads and tips. They're getting help from state police, the FBI, even the U.S. Marshals, but still there is no trace, no sign of Mickey Schunig. And now the latest information coming from state police, they tell me that they sent a crew on the ground to get an up-close assessment of what took place inside the Air Liquide plant, which is actually a better improvement from earlier today, where the best vantage point they could get was from a helicopter flyover to assess the damage. But nevertheless, the evacuation order remains in place for those that live within a mile of the blast site. And as you can see behind me, Highway 190 in both directions remains closed. That's the very latest live in Port Allen. Jason Newton, NBC 33 News. Victor, the good news to report on this one is that everything appears to be under control. As we speak right now, the Division of Forestry is packing up their bulldozers. You can see them pulling it onto the trailer here. Now, those little bulldozers, what they do is they plow a ring around the fire, around any brush fire, and they have a big tiller on the back of it. Here's the actual plow line. They put up a ring, a perimeter around, and the firefighters get inside of that perimeter so they can battle the blaze, also try to keep it contained within this perimeter. It clears out some of the dry brush and replaces it with moist soil coming up from under the ground. Coming off the lowest rain totals for any dry season on record, has the water levels here at Lake Okeechobee sitting 4 feet behind this same time last year. Now, the South Florida Water Management District is in charge of monitoring these water levels, and they're hoping for an early start to this rainy season.
It's a danger zone, really, you know, because you really can get killed.
For people who live in South Baton Rouge, you're just one blind spot away from life or death trying to cross multiple lanes on the interstate.
It's hard to merge over into the right lane for the Washington Street exit, and it's very dangerous.
The problem is for those coming from I-110, when it dumps onto I-10, there's only a short distance before you miss the exit on the opposite side. Cynthia Jones is president of the South Baton Rouge Civic Association and says the problem becomes much worse for elderly drivers and school buses.
All right, so here we are on I-10 heading eastbound, and it turns into a lot of gridlock here if you're coming from 110, say, trying to get over to the South Baton Rouge area. You have to cut across 1, 2, 3, 4 lanes of traffic just to hit this exit here, Washington Street exit. This is what all the residents in the area are having issues with.
It's a lot of things need to be done in South Baton Rouge, but we can't get any help.
Fresh off her re-election in October, State Senator Yvonne Dorsey knows the situation well.
So it's a life safety issue.
Dorsey says she's set to meet with DOTD officials about traffic studies conducted. She says moving the Washington exit across the interstate to the left is the obvious solution. In the upcoming months, she vowed to pursue some ideas vigorously.
The city's grown, and we fixed other parts of the city so that they're safer. And I think that part has been neglected.
Police choppers buzzing overhead, and swarms of law enforcement spilled over the Zachary area near East Mount Pleasant Road Tuesday, even after finding the body of a 2-month-old boy in a wooded area.
Just a sad situation, horrible situation.
The boy's mother, 22-year-old Sabrina Maiden, now under arrest, charged with first-degree murder. Investigators say she left home Monday morning with the child after a domestic dispute with the boy's father. She was found a couple hours later on nearby Barsket Road.
She wandered into the neighbor's backyard. She was incoherent and combative, so they contacted EMS and they transported her to the hospital.
Her son, Javion Brown, was not with her. A relative called police to let them know that Maiden should have had a child, and at 2 a.m., law enforcement started their search.
This was a very exhaustive search for all the agencies that were involved, and I know it was a very disappointing outcome.
Neighbors were taken aback by the news.
It really saddens my heart to know that a baby was found dead.
Javon Anthony is a mother of 2 young children herself. She's sad that the dead child never had a chance to live life and was a completely innocent victim.
A child is a blessing from God, and anyone who wants to hurt a child should not do that. We should protect our children from any harm or danger from anything.
A quick trip into Bay Natchez and you'll soon notice the water gets rough.
That is giant salvinia.
And this little plant is costing the state big bucks, $8 million a year, as the plant spreads at a rapid pace. And the warm winter from Mother Nature was no help.
And this year, with a mild winter like we had, I'm expecting it to be maybe a little worse, for sure.
Now the big issue with this salvinia plant is that it grows so large, it blocks out all the sunlight from getting inside the lake here, which in turn stops the oxygen from getting to the water.
Microscopic algae produce the oxygen, they die with no sunlight. In turn, the fish die with no oxygen. And this floating water fern spreads like the plague.
If left unattended to, it has the ability to double its biomass every 5 to 7 days.
The salvinia is native to Brazil. There's no telling how it ended up in Louisiana.
That's a good shot. That's what it does. You see it? I'm carrying a whole island of it with me.
But one way to cut down on the rapid spread in our state is a basic for all boaters.
A lot of the ways that it's transported from water body to water body is it gets picked up on trailers.
Make sure you clean your trailers and your boats after every trip in the water. In Iberville Parish, Jason Newton, NBC 33 News.
You know, I don't care about doing stupid things, so why not use that to my advantage and help raise money?
From corn syrup to chocolate syrup to ketchup, Taylor Fairbanks gladly endured it all for the camera. His buddies just kept piling it on, from clumpy brown sugar to the lemon curd his mother obviously had plans of using.
And out of all these things, like she noticed that her lemon curd was gone. Dude, I've never even seen her use lemon curd in anything.
But look beyond the condiments, and Taylor's goals are serious. He's trying to raise $2,000 to send he and his sister on an apostolic missions trip to Poland and Ireland. It will be Taylor's 5th mission trip, taking on the title The Mission Manic. He's giving donors the choice of what they want to see in his next video. Either leading a spontaneous jazzercise class in public, hula hooping while standing on a horse, or this third option.
I can eat the boogers of a sheep, a goat, and a donkey at a petting zoo. You decide.
It's clear this LSU student has no boundaries.
Like I was a guy who people would like, hey, eat this with this and this mixed together. Like, okay.
All jokes aside, Taylor says he wants to videotape his mission trip to document how the money he raises gets spent while overseas.
Because I've seen it, a lot of people haven't had the chance to see it. So I would love to give people that opportunity to actually see what they're investing into when they invest into missions.